Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Music City SolidWorks. I'm gathered here with a pretty large group. We're stuffing our faces with pizza. We've got door prizes out the wazoo. We have a giant table full of stuff. Everybody's going to walk away with something really cool. I'm super excited about tonight because we have some guests with us. We're doing the IronSWUG. We've got Adam Ebernickel. We've got Tank, Brad Meador. We've got Jared Trotter from Go Engineer here and Daniel Granillo from SolidWorks certification team. So we've got a pretty good array of things for you guys tonight. A lot of stuff to see, a lot of stuff to learn. And again, we're all walking away with the door prize, which is super exciting. Again, my name is Rudy Ottway. I'm the leader of the Music City SolidWorks user group. And we have IronSWUG kickoff tonight. So these guys have ridden motorcycles for several hundred miles already. You guys are going to do 5 user groups in 5 days. Is that right?
Right.
So you're going to put in a lot of miles on the bikes. You're going to go visit user groups, eat a lot of pizza, give away a lot of really cool stuff. And we're super thankful that you guys are here doing this for us and doing this for the SolidWorks community. So I'm super excited about this. So I'm going to turn this over to Jared Trotter. Jared Trotter is with Go Engineer. He's going to tell you a little bit about himself and Go Engineer. Over to you, Jared.
All right. Thank you, Rudy. Let's see. I go ahead and share here. Share my screen. All right. Well, good evening, afternoon, everybody, depending on what time zone folks are at here, tuned in. My name is Jared Trotter. I'm one of the application engineers at, at Go Engineer. I'll tell you a little bit about myself before I get into a little bit of content about the company. Finished up with an engineering degree from Mississippi State, so Hell State. Some of my experience here, as I've been working in the reseller channel, focuses mostly on SolidWorks and Visualize. As of late, I've been working pretty extensively with the 3D Experience team, doing implementations, working on the design and the data management side of things. Some of the things that know about myself, I do like to bowl. I have a 6-year-old daughter who's going to be going to 1st grade here next school year. I have recently taken up a hobby of designing bow ties, which is really just an excuse to mess around in SolidWorks and 3D print something. So that's a hobby I've kind of developed here over the past year and a half. And I've taken really to doing parenting, some kind of the advanced parenting there in SolidWorks and on the platform. So any questions about that, feel free to hit me up afterwards, or my contact information is there below, jtrotter@goengineer.com. So that tell you a little bit about Go Engineer. Of course, the main thing that we as resellers are known for is being a SolidWorks reseller, but we do, of course, support some of these other products as well, whether it be Stratasys printers, DriveWorks, DraftSight, or the Exact Metal 3D printer. So a number of things that we support for our customers. Just kind of going around in a circle here, I'll tell you about some of the different things that we do. As far as content, we have a YouTube channel, which has surpassed 100,000 subscribers. So anything from basic SolidWorks essential things to some more advanced simulation or CAM things, anything within that design portfolio, you can probably find there on our channel. So it's a great resource, free resource for learning all things related to SolidWorks. Go Engineer has been in business for about 40 years now, and they've acquired different VARs along the way. I came from a previous one in Mississippi myself, and now I've been with Go Engineer a bit longer than I've been with the previous reseller I was in Mississippi. Great bunch of people to work with, the ones who've been there for a while and the ones that we've brought on. So really good culture in terms of being a VAR and SolidWorks supporter. That goes nationwide as well. So we've got pretty much someone in each of the 48 contiguous states. So we're spread out quite a bit. Of course, I'm the resource locally here in the Nashville area. We have an online community that we've developed over the past couple of years. Just want to share a brief screenshot of what we have there. So you'll see the Go Engineer community there, where some of our customers, even those who aren't customers, can create a free login and get answers to SolidWorks related questions. A really nice forum that we've kind of developed over the years, and we've put a lot of work, put a lot of content into that. So check that out, community.goengineer.com. And there'll be a link at the end of this that you can look at as well. A couple of other things. We have an online customer portal, so you can track, different issues that you may have had with us, or, take a look at all of your licensing, that kind of thing that we've developed. And last thing that I'll mention is our training that we have. So if you're familiar with the VAR channel, you're probably used to the different classes that you can take, essentials, CAM, visualize, and so forth. So we have self-paced training that we've developed, which complements the other styles of training that we have. So first off, self-paced training, where you can do it at your own convenience, location-wise and time-wise. The next thing would be our online resources like the YouTube channel that we have. We also have traditional classroom training available as well. So coming in person with an instructor, any of those classes that you're interested in, you can kind of have that in-person interaction. And then lastly, for our customers who are on subscription, you get access to 2 free certification tests with each active seat of SolidWorks. So if you're looking to increase your skills, get that certification under your belt, that can be something that can be really useful for you. So that is pretty much all that I have. Just going to put these QR codes up here if you guys would like to screenshot that real quick, or just take a look at it for our Go Engineer newsletter. See what our professional training looks like, see what the Go Engineer channel and community looks like. You can take a look at those. So that is pretty much all for me. Thank you guys for your time. Glad to be here, as always, for the SolidWorks SWUG. So next, I'm going to turn it over to Daniel Granillo from SolidWorks.
Thank you, Jared. Can I get a round of applause for Jared? We're going dinner. Yeah. I'm gonna have to reach out to you about those 3D printed bow ties. I'm getting married next year, May, and thank you. And we want to, make our dog, a nice bow tie with some, handcuffs. So yeah, I'll have to reach out to you about that. Okay.
Share your screen.
Am I not sharing?
Yeah. Do a pop-up on here. There we go. Perfect.
Okay. Well, kickstands up for SolidWorks certification. I'm going to speak to you all real briefly, 10 to 15 minutes, about our certification program and some updates that we've made this year with the certification program. My name is Daniel Granillo. I'm a CSWE, which is a SolidWorks expert, and that's something, on your certification journey, everyone strives to achieve when they start out their certification journey. I've been with SolidWorks for the past 8 years now. I have my degree in manufacturing engineering from Cal Poly Pomona, and with 20 years experience of SolidWorks, only 10 years motorcycle riding experience. And what's funny is I live here in Tennessee, and I've been trying to get on this IronSWUG event for the past 2 years, ever since Adam brought it to my attention. Hey, Daniel, we're going to do this IronSWUG, and ride our motorcycles and present at user group meetings. You want to join? And so it only took 2 years to get it approved, but here I am. And, living close by, I had to fly out to South Dakota to pick up my motorcycle and ride it here over 1,000 miles just to be here today and to join these guys. So I'm super excited about this IronSWUG and being part of the gang and presenting to you all. Now,
motorcycle thing.
all right, I'm gonna have to get patched in now. Yeah. Well, in all these industries here, aerospace, automotive, energy, manufacturing, life science, industrial equipment, what's the main thing that they all have in common? It's SOLIDWORKS. And SOLIDWORKS, these industries may be different, but the tool is essentially the same. And you definitely can get certified with SOLIDWORKS. It will help your career tremendously. A certification follows you throughout your whole career. It does not expire. So if you change jobs or if you graduate college, you can take that certification with you throughout your career. And so what does a SOLIDWORKS certification journey really look like? For some, it may be very stormy, and just depends on how much experience you have with the software. And for others, it's like driving through a small town. There is many of these small towns just getting here. So where do you start? So we have 3 levels of certification. And can anyone tell me what's the first level? The associate, yeah, the associate. So the associate is geared towards anyone who has just got the fundamentals. They've completed training course either online or with their reseller, or have even gone through all the tutorials. But it's essentially sharing or showing your skill level, that you know how to use it. You can expect this exam to test you on assemblies, on part design, drawings, all the essentials with SOLIDWORKS. Then the next level?
Professional.
Professional, yeah. So the CSWP is what we like to call it. It's the Certified SOLIDWORKS Professional certification, and is targeted to users who have mastered these fundamentals. This exam here, the CSWP, and other professional level exams are really geared for those of you who have a really solid foundation, who your way around. Specifically for the CAD design exam for the CSWP, I can tell you that you're going to want to be very efficient. It's going to test you on configurations, how well you can design for change, and top-down assemblies, and your efficiency with the software. And what's the last tier? Expert. I know Carol wants to get to expert. Yeah. So our CSWE, we have 2 of them, one in CAD design and the other in simulation. And oh, do we have any experts in the room? Oh, wow, quite a few. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What about online? If you're online and you're a CSWE, let's get someone to raise their hand. All right.
Give us a +1.
Give us a +1. Okay. Well, these, for those of you striving to become an expert, these are for, your seasoned professionals with extensive, knowledge in the software. They've demonstrated, a high level of expertise, and which involves the completion of other prerequisites, and which I will get to in the next slide on how to actually reach the expert level. So with your certification journey, here's a little roadmap for you on how to get to expert. For CAD design, I always recommend take the CSWA, the associate level first. It's a really great way to get you acclimated with software, test, and really gets your fundamentals down, and then go towards your CSWP, the professional, and then you need 4 of the 5 other professional exam topics to qualify you for the expert level exam, you can take sheet metal, drawing tools, weldments, surfacing, or mold making. My recommendation for you, if you don't have mold making experience, just stay away from that exam, because that's one exam that I helped update and is now an industry focused exam. So you actually have to have some mold industry knowledge to pass that exam. But I would recommend, sheet metal, drawing tools, weldments, and surfacing if you don't have the mold making experience. Okay, so this is one path to becoming a CSWE. And what's great is if, once you achieve this level and, you come to a 3D Experience World event where Brad will, talk to you more about, there are some perks with being a CSWE at that event, as well as, we don't give away free exams for the CSWE, but at the conference, that's one perk, is being able to take the CSWE exam for free. And the other expert level exam is simulation, where you need the CSWP professional at the minimum, along with the simulation associate, simulation professional, and then there's a simulation expert exam to complete that track of becoming an expert. And a simulation expert or CAD design expert, either one of those will get you into our all the perks at 3D Experience World.
Free beer?
Well, that's for everybody at the conference. Yeah, you just show up. All right, some updates related to certification for 2024. We really went through all of our, exams. We, went through and really consolidated our exams on the platform as well as on desktop. Today SOLIDWORKS comes with the platform or on the platform. And so we wanted to do our best to really consolidate our exams and to create more brand recognition. So if anyone's aware, we had a mechanical design SOLIDWORKS desktop. This is your CSWA associate certification. And then we had an equivalent 3D Experience SOLIDWORKS associate certification as well. Well, as of June this year, we actually, because you can take either of these with the platform or, with desktop, we decided to consolidate these two and call it CAD design. This is the certified SOLIDWORKS associate. Instead of being in mechanical design, we're calling it in CAD design. And it's one exam, one certification, which you can use the SOLIDWORKS connected from the platform or SOLIDWORKS desktop to take this certification. Likewise, for the CSWP, the professional as well, we had a 3D Experience SOLIDWORKS professional and mechanical design SOLIDWORKS professional, the CSWP. And so we consolidated those two, which means more data sets for and challenges in this for this exam, but essentially one exam, one certification that can be taken with the platform or on the platform. As far as branding updates, as of June 2024, for our draft site and for our platform exams, we went through and went down to renaming them down to the brand name. So for all the 3D Experience exams that you were familiar with, most of them are now SOLIDWORKS exam certifications. And so for instance, the 3D Creator, the 3D Sculptor, 3D Mold Creator, they are now SOLIDWORKS 3D Creator Associate, SOLIDWORKS 3D Creator Professional, Sculptor, Mold Creator. And as well as the NC Shop Floor Programmer that my colleague here, David Brown, helped me with in creating. It is Dalmia NC Shop Floor Programmer, coming down to the brand name. As far as the SOLIDWORKS certifications, the only ones that really changed was the CSWA and CSWP and the expert, where we got rid of the name mechanical design and it's now called CAD design. So there's a CAD design associate, which is your CSWA, the CAD design professional, which is your CSWP, and your SOLIDWORKS CAD design expert, which is your CSWE. And the remaining, we have, over 15, I believe 18 SOLIDWORKS exams that are available to you that you can take, and does anyone, if we were to look at the top 5, most popular certification exams, what do you think the number 1 certification would be? The CSWA. Yeah, we have, I just checked, we have just over 500,000 CSWA certified users in the world. So what about number 2, the second most popular? P? Yeah. Good job, yeah. We have about 120,000 certified SOLIDWORKS user professionals. Oh yeah, okay, all right. How about number 3? What's the third most popular?
I'm gonna say, simulation. Drawings.
I heard simulation. I heard drawings or sheet metal. Sheet metal. Number 3 is sheet metal. Yeah, we have 27,000 certified sheet metal users in the world, and that's the third most popular certification that we have. And number 4? Drawings. Drawings? I heard drawings. Yes, it is drawing tools. You guys know your certification. Yeah, 25,000. And then how about number 5?
Weldments.
Weldments? I heard weldments. Anyone else?
Yeah.
It is additive manufacturing. Curveball, yeah. Our additive manufacturing associate exam is number 5 most popular at 22,000. So if you're ever curious, how many certified users are in my state or in my country, you can visit our 3D Experience Certification Center website just to get an idea of, since we're in Tennessee, I'm just curious, how many CSWE experts we have in here in Tennessee. So at 3dexperience.virtualtester.com, on the left, you can discover certified users. And if you've opted in to the online directory, you can, let's see, you can discover yourself as well as other users. So if we search for experts in the United States and narrow it down to Tennessee, how many CSWE experts do you think we have here in Tennessee? 27. We have 28.
Oh, wow.
28 users, at least 28 who are visible. Yeah, let's see. Hey, I hear someone familiar, Adam Ebernickel. And what's interesting is, you can actually list your LinkedIn profile. I see Jeremiah Davis from Tesla. He has his LinkedIn profile here that you can connect yourself with others, and so that it can find you should you need, if you're looking for employment. And with that, I'll just go back to the presentation here. Worldwide, we have
That's like 7,200, 7,300 now.
about just over 7,000 experts globally, worldwide, 7,000. Yeah. So I want to thank you all for joining us for sitting through my presentation here today. And for those of you online, stick around because there's going to be a QR code and a survey that's going to provide you with a free certification exam. And for those of you joining us here today, make sure you don't leave without giving me your email address so I can send you instructions on how you can redeem a free certification. And we also have a really nice, generous gift card for everyone here and for those of you online as well from HP. So they donated a gift card with us and which will be given away at the end of today's meeting. So I will now like to turn it over to Brad, who is going to speak to y'all about the 3D Experience World and to learn more about that. So thank you.
All right. Whoa,
That's a big one.
that's a big head. Jeez. Man, that's deadly right there. All right. Oh, I don't want that. Well, that works. I don't want it that way. All right. Well, nope. Everybody's. Let's do this here. I'm unmuted. I don't want display settings. I want it duplicated. Technical difficulties, everybody. This is so much fun live. All right. Oh, come on. Are you serious? Still showing me as a.
What do you get?
I'm trying to get my. It keeps showing my display phrase. Presenter display. From current.
Duplicate when it goes to it, you have to go to that screen.
Yeah.
You probably share across it.
And then
We'll just duplicate.
I did that. Duplicate. Now,
Change your slide back and forth, see if it changes it.
okay, there we go. A little bit of a delay, but we got it. All right. So first off, I'm Brad. Let's back up. We're going to go over 3D Experience World, what, why, where, how, all that wonderful jazz. So my name is Tank. Everybody calls me Tank, Brad, whatever you want to call me. I got Dad. I've got Hey You, Hey Dum Dum. I'll get all of it. SolidWorks guy, super nerd. What do you want to call it? But I'm a husband and a dad. I'm a project designer at Altec Industries in Roanoke, Virginia. I'm also the Star City SolidWorks user group leader in Roanoke, Virginia, as well as the Mid-Atlantic SWUG committee rep for the full Mid-Atlantic region. This is Virginia, West Virginia, Tennessee, Delaware, Maryland, and I cover some of New Jersey as well. I don't know why, but that's just the way it goes. I'm also a SolidWorks champion, and I have my CSWE. I got that in 2018, and now after I saw the simulation and all that wonderful jazz, I'm going to try that next because that's the one thing I've never done in SolidWorks because I'm just a designer. I'm not an engineer, so I don't get a chance to actually dig into simulation. Most of those guys do the FEA, and then they hand me this thing and say, "Make parts, make it work." So that's going to be my next exam to try. All right. So let's do some key takeaways today. So we're going to go, what is 3D Experience World? Why should you attend? And how to justify it to your boss, to your school, to your spouse, if you have one, So we're going to kind of go into that as well. Big shout out to Dan Wagner, who's on the presentation right now, or on the Zoom call. He helped me out with some of these slides, some of his stuff he's presented on. So You know, I'm gonna throw him a little shout out in here. So what is 3D Experience World? Now feel free to answer live if you want. We can go with that. So what is 3D Experience World? Family, family reunion. Okay. Okay. Well, it is a annual gathering of SolidWorks the real world. So learn your skills, feel the passion. You get to meet industry leaders. You get to collaborate with other users and peers. I mean, thousands of them. We're talking 4 or 5. I think I've seen upwards to 6,500 people at one of these events. And we're building that back up after all the shenanigans in the last couple of years. So yeah, get a chance to go, hang out, meet other people, and just get inspired. And, you know, I don't know if anybody's been. Has anybody been? Oh, everybody in this room has been. Dang, I shouldn't change the presentation.
I mean, it was just here, you know, a couple years ago.
I know, I know. I was going to say, if you haven't been and you're in this room, shame. All right. So what is 3D Experience and why the name change in 2020? Because I was part of that fateful SolidWorks world where they said, SolidWorks world's going away. Crickets, boos. Actually, I sat in a section in the general session where about 40 of us sat together, and there was a bunch of people going, boo! And we're like, what? And everybody's mad. Why are we changing the name? So we went to Texas, and it was like, 2019 SolidWorks World. And then we came back to Dallas, and it was 3D Experience World. So why? Why did we change it? Well, a little historical recap. Got 2 icons in industry, right? You got the 3D Experience, Dassault platform, and you've got SolidWorks. Up until 2019, it was kind of like all SolidWorks. And so we're going to go back. Little quiz. Some people already know a lot of this stuff, but we're going to try. SolidWorks was created in 1999. Do you know who created it? John Herstick, correct. Sidebar, do you know what software he created afterwards? Onshape, correct.
Program that shall not be named.
Program that shall not be named. No. So yeah, he created that and it's now sold to another competitor. We kind of, you know, don't do that anymore. All right. All right. What do you think on this screen was first to come up after SolidWorks was created? What was the next thing that was added to it? Toolbox. Okay. You think Toolbox? Yep. 2000 Toolbox was created. Does anybody use Toolbox? Awesome. Awesome. Sometimes. Unfortunately, our company already has predefined CAD models for that, so we don't get a chance to use Toolbox. Simulation was in 2001. Do you know what it was called? I can't do it with this one. It'll auto advance. Cosmos works. You were correct. It was actually called Cosmos Express, which is, yeah. With Flow in 03, PD. Nice. PDM in 06. And then the rest kind of inside. So you got Composer in 07, Draft Site, Electrical, MBD in 2015. Do we have any MBD people here? No? Okay. I've never actually met anybody who uses MBD yet in the real world, even though it is kind of a cool thing to try. Never actually met anybody who uses it. So this is good. Maybe it'll take some time to get adaptations in, but we'll see. And then we have the CAM and stuff coming in 2017. But 97, it was acquired by Dassault Systèmes, the French name. It's always fun when a bunch of Southern people try to say it. Dassault. With the side of the pepper.
Sounds like an AK-47.
It does.
Yes.
Yep. All right. So wildly touted as the creator of 3D design, Dassault Systèmes created 3D design in 1981. Do you know what it was called? CATIA, correct. Because they were an aircraft manufacturer, and they're like, we don't like doing things this way. So they created their own division to do 3D design. So they started doing 3D mock-ups in the 80s. In 1990, they had the PLM kind of created. 2012, that's what that date surprised me a lot, was the 3D experience platform creation date. Like that, as new as we think it is, it's really been around for quite a while. And then this virtual twin concept come up in 2020. So in the 90s and the 2000s, Dassault started buying software to build into their architecture. Smart Team is a big one for PLM or PDM stuff. Spatial, Abacus, big calculation engine, XLE, NetVibes, and metadata, some other things that can be added into the 3D experience platform. So what goes on at 3D Experience World? We've already heard some stuff about the CSWE training, the tests you can take there. You can also do things like they have this big playground and all this stuff. But, what goes on? Most of us, all of us have been in here except for my child in the back who is not old enough yet to go. But general session, this is the big strategy meeting, kind of what's going on, kind of overall arching theme of what Dassault's doing for the year or for the upcoming years, some past innovation and highlighting, and then like a celebration of what's been going on. We had some good speakers. We had Lonnie Johnson from the creator of freaking Super Soaker. As a kid, it was great. And when they said, "Hey, we're going to be doing this we have the guy who created the Super Soaker at 3D Experience World," I was excited. So,
Ring doorbell.
Ring Doorbell, yeah, Ring Doorbell was good. It was great to hear his pitch to the sharks on Shark Tank, and then be able to look them in the eye later and go, "Told you so," which is even greater because I have 2 of them and all kinds of cameras, so I can be like, I'm a good walking spokesperson for them. This year, we had 295 training classes given for all skill levels, given by 3D experience employees, Dassault employees, users like Adam and I, VARs. I mean, it was all kinds of stuff going on. We introduced this thing, meetups, very similar to what we're doing now, where you can just kind of chat and talk and kind of hang out with other experts, executives. If you have somebody, you're doing something in like education, they had an education meetup, so they could say, "I'm a professor, I do it this way. How can you get involved with students?" That kind of stuff. And you can kind of get a little bit of insight on how other people are doing it. Free certifications, like Daniel said earlier. I believe it's the Sunday before, correct? Always they do the certification day, right? You can go in, take your certification exams. They have a free exam day there. You got to sign up early. You can't just walk in, right? You got to sign up for those. And then there, at the end, if you have a CSWE, you can attend the CSWE expert party, which is always fun. It's always good to kind of celebrate that achievement that you get to do, and you get to meet all those other people that have earned that as well. It's kind of a respect thing. We have the playground. At one point, it was called the Partner Pavilion, or it's a big area where everybody kind of showcases their add-ins, their add-ons, some products that they're showing off. Lots of 3D printing. They have a maker zone that we were building robots. They actually had a robot fighting cage this year, which was fantastic. You can go in there and actually battle bot it out. Small ones, little 2-pound things. And watching the things get launched across this cage was amazing. And the best part is they had somebody repairing them as they kept breaking. That was like a full-time job for that guy. And it was anybody can drive them. So they just hand you a controller and say, "Have at it." So that was fun. They had Maker Zone, they had the Education Zone, so you can meet some of the student teams for Formula E, for Baja, for was it Formula SAE? Sorry, Formula SAE. Formula E is a F1 kind of racing. They had a startup area. Model Mania always is a big hit, so you can showcase. They give you a model, and then you got to showcase how fast you are and how efficient you are. It's kind of like a competition. And then this year was something new that I wasn't sure about, and I got to see some of the area, the VIP area. Free coffee pretty much anytime you wanted. Worth it for me for the VIP price. I'm a cat, well, as you can see, got my own coffee cup everywhere I go. Gave you a little bit access to that. You can meet some more executives and things like that. And then they had the 3D Experience Theater, which was allowing the partners and the people who create your add-ins, give them a chance to showcase their products, add-ins. You know, if you had some, I was talking to Kara earlier, the Sigmetrics add-in, we had DriveWorks people up there, we had HP talking about things, we had Dell, we had, 3D Connection. Big shout out to 3D Connection for hooking this up, because we actually do have a prize for for somebody in the room today will win a Space Mouse Pro. So it's gonna be fun. We'll give it away. And then, you know, we had journalism, that kind of stuff. 24 countries, 131 people come to cover this event, which is just mind blowing to me, because I'm just a CAD nerd who loves to draw and design, and I had no idea that it was that big of a deal for some people. You know, my first time being at World was just eye-opening to me how big this event is. So last year-ish, because, you know, we're at 2020, up to 2025 now. God, I'm old. Ugh.
Chilling.
Yeah, don't. All right, K. Bailey Hutchins Convention Center, which is now gone. I don't know if you knew that. They knocked down 2/3 of it because of how old it was. We were one of the few final conferences of the year there. I was reading an article about it because somebody was talking about it in the airport, like, "Oh, I can't believe they're gonna knock it down." I'm like,
Did you smell it when you was in there?
"Yes, the entire B Convention Center, B Hall, smelled like a B hole." Sorry, dad jokes. That one just came out of my head. Oh my God.
2-year-old.
Yes. But yeah, they were talking about knocking it down because it was just, it's big, it's old, it has lots of uses on it. But did anybody stay at the Omni or the Hyatt Regency, the two that were actually the partner hotels? Those are pretty nice. The Hyatt had the underground tunnel of doom, where you had to walk underneath the railroad tracks past all the homeless people. That was always fun every morning. It's like playing a game of, Frogger around people sleeping. So it was nice. Oh, demolished. Big words. So agendas, we kind of have an idea of what goes on during the day. Saturday, big sales kickoff. If you're a 3D, or if you're a Dassault employee, that's typically where you go Saturday. Sunday, if you show up early, actually, we'll step back to Saturday. CAD Monkey Dinner on Saturday. If you're a CAD user and you show up on Saturday, there's an unofficial kickoff dinner, usually started by one of our other user group leaders, Dan Herzberg, if he's on, from Boston. Every year, workshop sponsors, everything. Everybody comes out. We get GP, we get Manish, Suchit. They all come out and hang out for a couple hours, get some drinks, and have fun. Sunday, we've got the certification exams, applications, engineering workshop, and then welcome reception. And typically at the bottom, there's this thing called Super Bowl that happens. But next year, it's not during Super Bowl time. So I can actually, or Valentine's Day. So now I'm not in the doghouse when I go to the events, because that always happens. I'm always gone on Valentine's Day. But Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we have the general session. We have all your technology or technical sessions, and they're usually broken up throughout the day. So you can kind of walk around. You can set your schedules how you want, and pick the things you want to see. Monday is like a reception afterwards, but Tuesday is the special event. Proud to say that's Eric there. He's the new Washington, D.C. user group leader. He's from Houston, Texas. He's getting a bigger hat, I think, for next year, or more stuff on them. I'm not sure. I asked him if he's going to bring one that holds nacho cheese, because I've seen those before. That would be amazing for like the reception, walk around, make friends that way. Or, tequila shots, things like that. So here's some by the numbers. User breakouts, 292 people, 23 meetups, 65 hands-on workshops. And we were able to develop 318 hours of content, over 82 customer speakers, and 109 employees. And the disciplines go from CAD management, education, business simulation, manufacturing, all that stuff. And then the partners. So here's some photos from some of the events. And there's Suchit getting his cheesy selfie. I probably should try to recreate that if I want. If you're at the event, you might see some color-coded things here on your lanyards. If you have a red one, you're an employee. I know of at least a couple people to get those. And gray is just the attendee, blue partner. And then you have special ones for students as well. For the Wednesday, they're student only, kind of under 18 passes. Or under, is it 18 or 21 now? I think it's 18.
They usually put the under 21 on the badge.
Yeah, yeah, the under 21's on the badge itself.
It's like a do not drink.
And then, of course, backpacks, which we have some here, thanks to Daniel. Backpacks are like the hottest swag item at World, second only to the SolidWorks socks. Did anybody get SolidWorks socks this year? No? Yeah, we got SolidWorks socks. They were in the Hive. Pro tip, go visit the Hive a lot because they were throwing out socks and like wristbands, and people were bringing in 3D printed gadgets. They brought them in and they had the QR codes on them, and you can scan them and go to their YouTube channel and see how they made them and everything. It's pretty neat.
Go to that.
Yeah, go to the Hive. This year we had an app, much better than previous years. I don't know if anybody's ever remembered the catastrophes of some of those apps that don't work. I believe this one was developed by Dassault to match. It wasn't like another Cvent app or anything like that. So much better. So you can use it. Yeah, the Cvent one, it was, oh my, yeah. And some of them worked on iPhone that didn't work on Android and vice versa. This year, I think it all worked. Like, I don't think it had any problems. So the Dassault employees, it worked much better. So great job. And then, you can do your, all your stuff in it, conference planning, get your networking in there. You can even do your session content and download all that stuff in there, but you can also fill your surveys out. Big push as a presenter, please do surveys, because I don't know if I'm bad unless somebody tells me I'm bad or that bad. I'm not sure, but fill them out honestly. I've got surveys that are 5-star or 1-star with no information in there. I can't develop my presentations after that. So make sure you fill it out like, hey, I'm giving this guy 3 stars, great content, terrible speaker, bad dad jokes, that kind of stuff. Huh? Yeah, never bad dad jokes. Yeah. This year they had this big layout. We had the shop floor, the theater, EDU space, maker zone. We had the big mech suit from Aliens that was built. Crap, I can't remember his name now. The YouTube channel.
I know what you're talking about.
Who built?
Does the Halo.
Hacksmith built this out of a skid steer. It is a working mech suit, just like from the movie. And they've asked if Sigourney Weaver can get in there and do it again. Nobody would ever respond to make for the YouTube channel. So, yes, Master Chief.
Have you seen the YouTube video for that?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, Master Chief drove it. Big shout out to local schools. Like, we get these local schools in there sponsored by SolidWorks. You get to see their cars they build, the Formula cars, the robots. They've got some now that are autonomous drones that you can see. And then we have a maker zone where, you can see things that are not professionally linked, but things that you want to try, build your own puzzles, build your own backyard games, solve a problem at your house kind of thing. Great, super great stuff. And then Model Mania. Does anybody actually participate in Model Mania? 1, 2. There you go. Oh, man. Oh, yeah, big round of applause for him. Yeah. Model Mania really tests your skills on efficient modeling and being able to change everything under a time crunch correctly.
Steve Calvert got some socks. He put a +1.
+1 for socks? Yes.
And then he said he's going to bed now.
What? It is only 8:30 in Roanoke, in East Coast. It's only 8:30. It's okay.
Tips on the Model Mania, you can bring I'm big on the customization tools. You can bring them on the flash drive. They let you bring in all your S keys and all that other stuff.
Yep. So one of our people here said, tip, bring your SolidWorks settings, save them onto a flash drive. If you have a 3D connection mouse with all the extra buttons and stuff, bring that too. Make yourself efficient. That's a good one. This year we had Lonnie Johnson, Patty Lowe, and Anissa, I believe is how you pronounce her name, Muthana, as our keynote speakers. As a big race fan, Patty Lowe's stuff was interesting to hear about, like his whole race car career and things. That was a big. I think this picture was probably from 20 years ago.
You remember the year Jeffrey Bodine was there with the bobsled?
No.
You wasn't there for that? I think it was in San Diego.
Oh, no, I'm not, I haven't been that far back.
Yeah, he come in and did a whole presentation
Oh,
on, how
on-
he had designed the bobsleds.
Yeah, I had no idea at the time, at least until I saw some content on it, that he actually designed anything other than race car parts, which is fantastic that he does. So Jeffrey Bodine builds bobsleds using SolidWorks, which is, as a race car nerd, it just blows my mind. Jamaican bobsled, that's right. So we had the special event at Gillies, Dallas this year, a press reception that was invite stuff, I don't want to do press things. And then the CSWE reception, which was awesome. So, it's invite only, but it's only, if you get your CSWE, you get added on there. And obviously super fun. I got to hear somebody, I got to hear Rachel Noem from Dassault, SolidWorks specifically, sing Bring Me to Life by Evanescence. Typically karaoke, people just ignore. She gets up on stage and starts singing. The entire bar quiets down, turns, looks at her and is like jaw drop because she's super quiet and mild mannered and grabs the microphone and instantly flips the switch into a rock star. Amazing. Did anybody see that? We got one. Okay. Who knows? Like you don't know that kind of thing unless you kind of do these events. We got, looks like Kirby and Johnny up there in that post. Our lovely Brits there who love Jack Daniels possibly more than anybody in Tennessee does. I mean, they come to the events and leave with a suitcase full. I think it's a lot cheaper for them to fly back with it than it is for them to buy it and ship it over. The Hive, this year, the Hive, yes, I was standing beside Steve or around Steve when it happened, and everybody's jaw dropped. This year for the community team, so we're talking the user groups, the champions, and influencers. We had this entire area for podcasting. We even had live band. You can actually pull, like we had instruments you could pull up and play, and just who knew? We had all these creative people. It was fantastic. This is where we did a lot of our meetups. So you can kind of just hang and sit and talk and drink coffee. And this is where all the fun swag is. The socks, extra t-shirts, that kind of thing, where you kind of hang out and meet up with people. This is on with that. We have the meetups. These were just community-driven events. So they could be run by SolidWorks employees, Dassault employees, but these were really good. Just kind of get together and network with people that are similar to what you do. So if you're an independent contractor, they had one for contractors. If you did one for education, they did one for education. You did ones all sheet metal. I'm sure they could have had one that was sheet metal derivative, 3D printing, that kind of thing. So it was really neat to see other users get together and just talk and kind of nerd out. And then, the top 10 event, everybody loves top 10. It was a standing room only in that part of the area. With questionnaires and what's coming up and enhancements wise. We did some awards coming up. There's a familiar face up there. Adam won the Michelle Pillars Award, which is like a lifetime achievement award for SolidWorks user group leaders. I knew, and I had to hide this trophy from him for an entire day in my pocket. I mean, it's fairly good size.
Wondering why he's acting so funny.
I kept trying to,
It's getting fishy. I think something was going on.
I kept trying to ditch him. I'm like, I have to go put this thing down because it was like in my pocket and I'm trying not to like lose it or break it. I'm like, hey, I'll be right back. And then come back and find him and, being able to present it was good. The champion of the year was Mr. Eric Beatty. I'm not sure if he's on the call, but he won that one this year. And then of course we have our two leaders up on the right, Matt Clegg and Dan Wagner. Dan is the one with the beefy muscly arms. Matt Clegg is the one with the sweet tie. Usually one year he had them sweet like Bono glasses. So here we go. How to justify your trip. How to convince your boss, your spouse, your company, that kind of thing. So information to have. We're going to go over expectations, HR, budget, all that cost, justification letter, some comparables, buzzwords, and ROI. Expectations. So define the goals. What are you going to go? Are you going to go just to network? Are you going to go to learn some specific topic? Are you going to go to get your certification? Write all these things down beforehand. How do you network and market your company? You company. I forgot the R there. I'm from the South, you guys. It's okay. I can't spell. Research. Big things. I like to look at the agendas and try to get as much information as I can to present to my supervisor at the time and go, okay, here's what we're going to talk about. Here's what's going to be, if there's going to be some keynote speakers already announced. They typically announce them later in the event invitations and things, but it's always good to use that as ammunition for how to justify your expense. And then work plan. If you have a group of individuals you work with, who will cover your duties while you're away? Do you get ahead before you get behind? That kind of thing. Who's going to handle all that? Then highlight your benefits. What will you bring to your organization back? Is it career development? Is it just networking, skills, add-ons that you can use for your company? But I put in there, it's a 7A to 6P learning day with networking throughout the day. So you get, a lot of time to sit and learn and dedicate some time to honing your craft. So step 2, this one right here is the hardest one that people can't, that I put in there. Dreaded, go to HR. I know people don't like going to HR. It's kind of like the principal's office when you're in high school. But get your travel policies, because sometimes they might have some internal travel policies that you don't know about. If you have conflicts with training, if you know, they will know if your management's got some training ahead of time. And if you work for the government, there's training grants. They'll actually be able to give you some money to do continuing ed. And then ask for their help. If your supervisor's kind of on the edge of whether you go or not, having HR's approval ahead of time will help you convince them to send you. And then be like, oh, talk to your spouse. Oh, dang, my boss and HR are sending me to an international conference where there's going to be all kinds of training and possibly free adult beverages. Sorry, dear, I can't make it to Valentine's Day again for the 3rd year in a row. Not this year, though. They moved it. So, yep. Yes, it was. Bash on Broadway was on Valentine's. With you, yes. Yes. Yeah, yes, it would. Next thing you do is look for your budget. Talk to your supervisor. Do they have training budget? Hint, yes, they do. There's always money in the budget for training. If you are an employer, always, always, always invest in your employees, train them up, make sure that they are putting their best foot forward and help them do that. You're not just trying to capture them and keep them for yourselves. Help them better themselves. Ask yourself, when does your budget calendar start? Fiscal year or calendar year? And if so, get it in the budget ahead of time, as fast as you can. And then get it in writing. Like have a meeting plan with your supervisor, and then do not shortcut the amount you think you need for the trip. With budgeting comes cost. So flights, round trip, unless you want to hike it back or do what Leonard did and do a train across the country. Round trip. Conference fees. This year or 2024, they did it differently. So you have your full conference pass, and then you could add in food later because they were trying to minimize the food waste, which actually I admire them for with that, because you don't want to be throwing away a ton of food. So get your conference package. If you want to do VIP, go for that. And then make sure you include your food pass in there as well. I think all in all last year it was $1,600, $1,700 out the door if you didn't get the pre-buy specials or like the early bird specials. And then check the hotels. The deals set with the conference partner hotels. They're usually attached or within walking distance. Now, if you have a company that has some more stricter budgeting plans, you can usually find cheaper deals elsewhere. I know Adam is the king of negotiate. I don't know how he does it, but he got rooms this year for Altec for like, what, $140 a night or something, $150? I don't know how he did it for like 20 people. Yeah, I mean, full on homes, essentially. I don't know how he did it, but start looking ahead of time. Airbnb is a good option if you've got multiple people, get you a big house, Airbnb it. Meals with that, I've already kind of talked about it. This year it was $200 for the meal plan. If you do that, if you're by yourself or you're with a company, with a couple people from your company, can you eat for cheaper than $200 a day? I'm sure.
Will Rogers said you need to take your wife with you, say.
I would, but
You have.
I have once, but she has a thing called a job and we got kids.
Thank you.
I know.
Sorry about that, kid.
Yep. Sorry. But while you're thinking about it, parking. Typically, we don't have to worry about parking, or how much your Uber costs are going to be, and then entertainment. If you're going to do extra entertainment, put that in your budget as well. And then comparables. Go for your VAR. Talk to your VARs. TriMet, Go Engineer, and see how much a SolidWorks Essentials class is going to cost you. Do you know what that is out the door right now?
Let's see.
Oh, 3,900. 3,900 for a 5-day essential course. So you can do Solid Professor as well, college courses, and then networking. How can you really compare networking in person over top of your, nerding out over your favorite subjects? Taking that to your boss will help. So your options should compare to the sessions that you have selected for the conference. What would it cost you to take those classes, to do the live Q&A? And are there going to be similar classes at 3D Experience World 2025? Hint, yes, there will be, always. Everything from what's new to like a introduction to SolidWorks 101 to everything as far as advanced simulation and how to do advanced calculations. There is every amount of training you can possibly imagine in there. Also, don't forget, people make the event. It's not just training. You meet some of the coolest people and you get to make those connections and, share the love for this software. Okay, last one for this one, networking. It's the hardest to justify, but it is insanely valuable. So for me, it's a yearly CAD conference to discuss and improve our, as Altec's, modeling standards and CAD admins. We sit down at the end of every year. At the end of the conference every year, we have the people that we sit down and actually create a presentation to send out to our CAD admins, our IT department, and the management of, okay, this is what we've learned. Here's how we can apply it to Altec. It's not a waste of money. This is all the stuff we've come up with. And it's usually like a 70 slides, 80 slide presentation we send out.
I would say another thing in conjunction with this, hopefully I'm not getting ahead of you.
Yeah.
Along these same lines is, do you think your company or you as an associate in a company knows everything and all the technology there is to know out there and the up and coming technology there is to know? Probably not. No. But by going to these events, you get your company to be ahead of the game.
Yes.
Or with the current game, right? You're not sitting stagnant by waiting for everybody to pass you and your company up.
Yeah. So here's some corporation buzzwords. So first thing you gotta ask is, what does the supervisor find valuable? And then here's some ones you can do. The big one this year was AI. You could have played a drinking game with that one. We would have all been dead. First day. Automation, simulation, data management, model-based engineering, and cloud. You can use this stuff to drive the need or the desire for your boss or your company to send you. But like, this is what they're talking about. This is how we can get ahead of the game. And then return on investment. So if it costs $3,000, provide what your company will gain. Well, I said earlier, we combine all of our notes. Everybody that goes from Altec, we are expected to take notes and create a presentation afterwards to share to the entire company. And then we compare it to the training costs, and then time savings. This is a big one. 15 minutes a day, roughly, you can save just by using some basic tips and tricks. And I just did a basic math calculation. So 65 hours of save time for the year. Times that by how much you charge somebody engineering hours, and that makes a lot of money. Justification come back well beyond the cost of a conference ticket and planes to get there. So, and ROI gets easier if you get grant money. So if you can find a way to get U.S. government grant money for continuing education for your company, ROI is easy. It's free. You just send your employee.
The ROI on understanding or learning something new that's in the industry that you didn't know.
Yes, is awesome. So, also, employee training is a write-off on your taxes. Any training, write-off. Yes.
something I said earlier.
Yes.
Price is actually 19.
Oh, 1900 for, okay, 1900 for SolidWorks Essentials. Okay. I was about to say 3900. It's gone up.
Not saying that the 3D Experience World is, yeah, not saying 3D Experience World's a replacement for SolidWorks.
Yeah.
SolidWorks Essentials has a place and a very, very lucrative training.
Yep.
But just looking at cost things.
All right. So justification letter. If you want to justify your expense to your supervisor or whatever, I created a 3D Experience World justification letter. You can scan it and do it. And if you have a boss or anything who needs this, do it now. Don't wait until November, December timeframe. Start talking to your supervisor now about the justification to this, to come to this event. You know, go ahead and start. You want to try it? You want to send it to your boss?
You think-
I like
you
this.
think Puppet's gonna give you permission to go?
I think his is mandatory now.
Yeah.
Okay, so call to action for today. I like to do call to action things. Start planning now for 3D Experience World 25. Get in your supervisor's heads, or if you are on the Zoom call and you are from another country, start filling out your visa forms now because it will take a while to get them. I've been seeing them on the platform, people getting their visas now. So if you are from an international country, start doing it now.
Sign up as soon as you.
Yeah,
go,
sign up
do it
is-
since it's available, because there are certain classes and hands-on
Yes.
classes that if you don't get into them
You won't.
ASAP, then yeah,
Yep.
you won't get into
Yep.
them.
Some of the sessions are hard to get into, so as soon as they go live, get them. Talk with your supervisors or your boss or your spouse. Hey, I'm going to be taking a training trip in February. Put it on your calendar now. And then reach out with questions. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to me. And any questions here or in the chat? And then we'll swap computers and stuff out for Adam.
I think that's a great idea, to go and cross-train everyone else at your company,
Mhm.
what you learned. Because there's so many training events that go on, it's hard to attend them all. But if you have other colleagues that can go, present it to the rest of your associates at the company afterwards.
Yes, it is a big benefit, and we also use that as maybe this, if you think this is something you would like to do, talk to your supervisor and they'll get you in contact with somebody who will get you on the list to go maybe in next year. So we try to rotate. Good question, or good statement.
Thank 3D Experience World 2025, Houston, Texas, February 23 through 26.
23rd through 26th in Houston, Texas.
Hold on, birthday. So bring me a birthday present, I will be waiting for it.
Okay, and for all those, Adam takes birthday presents in 10s and 20s.
10 and 20, because my birthday is on February 28th, so.
So, but yeah, yeah, good. I completely forgot to put that in the slide. It's okay. But yeah, you know, make sure you go ahead and start talking to supervisors now. Houston's big enough, you got a big airport there, it's easy to get to. There's gonna be enough infrastructure there for Ubers and things like that, so.
Testing 1, 2. I should be getting sound. Are you guys hearing me now? I think it's working now.
Oh, I got it, yes.
Okay, awesome. Sorry, guys. So just to catch you guys up on Zoom, I'm giving a shout out to the sponsors here, and letting, everybody know and, you know, what a great job the sponsors are doing for us. I'm down to the VARs. The VARs are doing a great job. Again, Go Engineer being here and at most of our stops, providing some gift cards and stuff to give out. They're doing a great job with that. Same thing with, GSC and Hawk Ridge, Converge and Swift. They're all doing a great job doing the same stuff, being involved, sponsoring and stuff like that. And of course, Ashley, will be our final stop at Ashley up in Arcadia, Wisconsin, almost Minnesota. We're actually going to be in Minnesota for the final night staying. So that's how far we're traveling. But yeah, they're great as well, providing, you know, the resources and facilities for us to be able to meet in for the last one. Just take a minute to thank those guys. If you ever get a chance to talk to them or work with them, it's great companies to work with, right? All right, so let me jump over to my slide and talk a little bit about what I'm going to be doing. So Brad kind of took up some time talking about 3D Experience World, which is a great topic and a lot of fun things you can do there. We're going to start and kick off my presentations on this route with a little bit of fun too. Not be so serious, and also maybe even give some prizes for some winners.
And we're going to do tips and tricks. Let's play. First, I want to introduce myself. My name is Adam Ebernickel. I'm a project designer in the product engineering department of Altec Industries. As you can see in that slide at the top, that's kind of what we do. Altec bucket trucks, digger derricks, utility trucks, flatbeds, tree care, anything utility wise you can think of. That's kind of what we have our hands in and play in. It's a lot of fun, a lot of sheet metal. As you can see, there's just a lot of sheet metal there. I also adjunct teach about three classes a semester in the applied engineering department at Mainland Community College. I enjoy that. It's a lot of fun. A lot of stuff you'll see when I'm illustrating on this slide that it's all been doing it about the same amount of time. So I've been with Altec over 10 years. Started doing the teaching just after that. About that same time, I started leading the Western North Carolina Asheville SolidWorks user group. So that's been a lot of fun and kind of contributed to my growth within SolidWorks and within the community as well. Right before COVID started, I became the SWUG committee member for the whole Southeast. So it's kind of Mississippi, Tennessee, down through the Caribbean, as well as I manage the Altec SolidWorks user groups too. The ones that are within Altec, we've got 10 of them, and they function and work really well. I would give a plug for Dan here that if you have a company you feel like can benefit from the SolidWorks user groups, think about bringing them in-house and doing what we're doing here with your company. Just like Brad said, go to World, come back, teach your colleagues, right? I think it's a big benefit for the company to facilitate that. And, sometimes companies can't receive outside funds and benefits from other places doing that, but I mean, if you can, then, SolidWorks is footing the bill for your training too. So I am in the SolidWorks Champions program. It's a fun champion to be a part of. Matt Clegg runs that Champions program. He does a fine job with it. They're really trying to fine tune those things. There are some requirements of being at least a CSWP and a few other things. We also try to not let it get diluted, so per se. So there is kind of a process of going and getting or applying and doing that. If you want to look at the go to Google, type in SolidWorks Champions, you'll get it. They'll come up. There's applications and stuff for it, and certain requirements you need to facilitate for it. And also certified SolidWorks expert. I see many of you guys are in here. That's great. That's awesome to see those all in one room. Sometimes, especially when there's only so many in the world, right? And we got a meeting of the brains and minds here today, so that's awesome. Okay, so some key takeaways for this presentation is going to be just have fun. Have fun learning, right? Learning doesn't have to be so tedious and stressful or whatever. You can have fun learning. There's new ways to do all kinds of things. So we're going to take a look at some different stuff while we're doing this. And of course, test your knowledge, because this is basically going to test your knowledge, but we're going to have fun testing your knowledge. And so in doing that, I don't know if you guys have heard of this game called Kahoot. We're going to play a game called Kahoot, and everybody can play live. Yes, please play live, because depending on how this goes, there's going to be 3 top winners. You guys first, second, and third in that ranking, in that order. Rudy's kind of agreed at the beginning of the meeting that will be the order in which you receive your door prize of your choosing. So, and if you're online, we can hook you up too, so don't think you can't. All you need is this little guy right here. So pull out your smartphone. I'm going to click on this right here. And you're going to scan that QR code. It's going to put you into the game. In that game, you can make up whatever funny name, real name, whatever you want to do. Just apply yourself to the game. I'm going to give everybody a minute to scan that QR code. We've got how many people online still? 22? Okay. So I'm hoping for at least 20 people to sign up.
People coming in.
Yes, we do. I like Spaceman Spiff. Hey, Rudy's on here. Huh. Just Steve. How you doing, Just Steve? I see you out there. Big Papa. I like it when you call me Big Papa.
And we got good players here. It looks like
17.
there's this one crazy character named Tank is the best.
Tank is the best.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think aircraft bomber's better.
Yeah. Mr. KC is pretty good too.
So 17. Everybody in here need this QR code bigger? Everybody's got this? Okay. So I'm gonna close the QR code. You guys can still keep scanning. It'll be in the top corner here. You guys at home probably can see it a little bit better and scan it on your device a little bit better. Give it just a few more minutes for everybody to chime in if they want. We're not supposed to lose people, guys. Come on. We went to 17. We're back down to 15. You can do it.
There. I know.
There's BB. All right, Glenn Shirley's back. All right, there's 18. Can we get two more? Can we hit 20? Okay. If you need more time, put it in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to do one more minute. If you're on the struggle bus and need a couple more seconds, let me know in the chat. Dave Ramsey, yes, sir. I was looking forward to seeing you here, Dave.
Not that Dave Ramsey. By the way, this Dave Ramsey is super cool.
Yeah, he's awesome. We like Dave.
No, yeah.
But he claims that he is the Dave Ramsey.
Got 20.
20. Okay, let's go. Here we go. And we'll give you, unless you put something in the chat, I'm going in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you have any questions about these or there's not enough correct answers, I will illustrate and talk about them to give you a little bit of a show. And it starts. In order to help correct mating issues, you can comment mates, sort mates, hide mates, or group mates. That's right. Most people got it right. We're at 10. We'll go ahead and switch over real quick just to show group mates, since there was about half of the people that didn't get that. Brad's purposely putting wrong answers in the chat, in the thing. All right, so we're going to look at this floor real quick. I'm just going to swap this channel for whatever, because we know we're going to break SolidWorks as soon as I do that. Let's put this tip plate in here. Hit OK. And of course, we're going to break some mates here, and it's not going to be happy with us. Anybody ever have this happen? They replace something with something else, and it gives you a bunch of ketchup and mustard, or Doritos and meatballs. And you can see they're all scattered throughout here, and we've got to try and solve this and fix it, right? Well, we can come to the top, and I don't have enough yellow in here to really indicate, but we'll get the picture. If you right-click on mates, come down to group mates and by status, then you can set them in folders, and you can close the one that are solved, because we don't care about the solved ones, right? They're good to go. We're not worried about those. But then it'll also group them with your ketchup and mustard, right? It'll group them with your overdefined or your unsolved mating issues. And then you can come down within the folder and see those, whether they're yellow or red, right? And even your suppressed mates are in there, and you can try and isolate and fix those as you go, and maybe even suppress them, unsuppress them, delete them, fix them, whatever you need to do. Maybe even just suppress a few at a time to help you understand where the issue's coming from. And then once you find out where the issues come from, you can unsuppress them, maybe go and fix them. And typically, if you start with those red ones first, they'll help solve the yellow ones, right? Because of course they're overdefined or whatever. And then once you're done, you can go back and you can set them back the way they were, just in case you don't want to leave them like that. That's perfectly fine. And then it'll go back the way it was. And I'm gonna undo that, so it goes back the way it was. All right. Let's go to the next one. And at the top, now I'm going to go ahead and warn everybody as we go through these, it's not only getting the correct answer, but it's how fast you get the correct answer, right? It's like a pub game. All right, next question, 2 out of 25. What key can be held to drag and copy almost anything? Shift, Tab, Control, or Alt? 18 answers in, 19 answers in. There we go. Yes, you're correct. Control key. And I'm going to give you a bonus here. Let's show this media one more time real quick, because not only can you control and copy almost anything like we're seeing in this tube, but you can do it across windows, right? So if we come over into SolidWorks real quick, we'll go to, say, this tube, and we can grab this hole and drag it and place it there, leave it dangling, or delete the dimensions, right? We'll ignore the errors because I just let them dangle. And there we have it there, right? So let me undo that. And if I come in and decide to change my tiles to horizontal or vertical, either one, right? And maybe I need this same hole down here, I can come in, control grab that hole and put it over here. Across windows, right? I can do that in assemblies and take stuff from assemblies. Maybe I have a whole pattern that I need to copy from something else. Of course, it's nice. You can go in and edit in place and you can convert entities and stuff like that. But wouldn't it be nice if you just grab the whole pattern and drag it across and boom, it's there, right? Okay. All right. There we go. We got some, just Steve took the lead. He smacked them down. Good job, Steve. All right. True or false? Control-Shift-Tab will allow you to show everything hidden and unhide what you want. 13, 14 answers. Looking for 6 more answers in 10 seconds. Oh, 2 more answers. We're almost there. Come on, 2 more answers. There we go. So half the people got it. Yes, it is correct. Control-Shift-Tab will allow you to show everything that's hidden. I'm going to illustrate that one real quick, and I've got an extra note treat for you here in a little bit that I'll show you, but I don't want to show it just yet. I'm waiting. So let's say I go in here and I hide a few things. I can hide them, with another button too, but we'll just go with this. Hide that, hide that. And if I do Control-Shift-Tab, notice they're all visible, and I can select what I want to bring back in whatever order. Okay, got some shifting around. Steve's still maintaining the lead. What does Shift-C do? Copy everything, close everything, create a circle, collapse everything in the feature tree. 15 answers in, 16 answers in, looking for 2 more answers. That is correct. It collapses everything in the feature tree. It's really nice because if you're working with heavy models, large assemblies, right, and you're clicking on things and you're expanding stuff or mating things, you'll notice that feature tree starts to grow and expand and get further out, and you get kind of lost in it. And I would have to say that Shift-C is probably my most used hotkey. I'm surprised my keyboard hasn't broken on Shift-C yet because I use it so much, because I'm just... The inverse is one thing that Brad likes to do. I would never do this, by the way. Okay, so Brad likes to go to people's computers when they're not looking and they didn't lock their computer like they should have, and hit a little asterisk in the search field up at the top at the filter, and it'll completely expand everything.
You don't have to, you just have to click in the feature tree and hit it has to be the asterisk on the number pad. It'll expand it all the way down and just get to the point.
And then somebody comes back and they're like, what happened to my feature tree? And if they don't know Shift-C, then they're just out of shift luck. Yes. Yeah. Yep. All right. Oh, Steve dropped and BB took the lead. Tank is the best at number 2. Oh, Rudy took 3. All right, Rudy, good job. Okay, here we go. You can input an equation into SolidWorks. We'll compute them, true or false. Yeah, almost everybody got that. Congratulations, guys. I hope everybody at least knows they can put 1 + 1, and SolidWorks will tell you it's 2. There is a follow-up question to this too, by the way, for that one.
Oh.
A little bit of shifting going around. Yeah. True or false? When using isolate, there are multiple display types. Two more answers. Correct. There are multiple display types, and I like to use this. A lot of people may say, yeah, there is, or there isn't, and they don't really use it, so they don't understand it enough. So I'm going to jump in here and I'm going to go to isolate, because isolate can actually be pretty powerful, right? So if I say maybe I need this, right, and I go right click and I say make isolate or isolate it, right, it isolates everything. It also gives me this little box up here where I can do a couple things. I can save it as a display state, right? But if I hit this box, I can turn it into transparent and still see the context of which it's around. I use a very simple model here, but think about a large model content where you've isolated it and you can still see what's around it and still be able to work through it. And the good thing about transparent is you can always click through transparent, so it doesn't interfere with your modeling either. The same thing when you drop it down and you say, I want to see it in wireframe.
Good for top-down model.
Great for top-down model. On the flip side of that, isolate is no more than I've said hide everything but what I told you not to hide. So here's a bonus tip for this, right? Is what did we just talk about? Control-Shift-Tab. You can show everything and pick what you want to come back. What if you didn't click enough stuff to isolate and you forgot another plate that needed to be involved in that isolate? Well, just click it and go. If I didn't hit tab. Yeah. Just click and go and bring it back, right? So you can use isolate and then use Control-Shift-Tab in conjunction and use those together and make isolate even more powerful, because all it's doing is hiding stuff, right? All right. Phoebe is in the lead still, moving around. Steve just came up one.
Question, does it work in part bodies?
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to say it on the chat.
Yes.
It does.
Sorry. I let somebody else in the room answer it and went with it, but I forgot you guys. And Brad, you don't have the
Yeah,
the mic.
I think what they're asking about is multi-body parts.
MBD, yeah.
Yeah, it does come with multi-body parts.
Do you have that speaker hooked up?
It
Okay.
should. I just tried to get it live,
You may just have to set it out there though,
trying to get it to unmute.
because it's right behind your computer. Get it out in the audience a little bit. All right, let's go to the next one. Where is the fastest place to see a measurement? Status bar, feature tree, property manager, or command manager? Can we get 3 more answers in 3 seconds? Almost. That is right, the status bar. A lot of people got that right. There's a few that didn't, but that's okay. I'm going to just show it to you real quick. The great thing about the status bar, and what is it? It is the bar that runs along the side here. Let me get this toolbar to hide real quick. Auto hide. I may not spend too much time on this, guys. I know it's in here. Yeah, I'm not gonna worry about it. It's just in the way of my SolidWorks. So
See it.
can you see it?
Yeah.
It's just really small, maybe.
Yep.
Okay, there it is. I can see it now. Sorry, guys. I got my reading glasses over here. So you see, I clicked the line, it automatically told me it was 10 inches, right? If I click 2 different surfaces, it's going to tell me that's 90 degrees because they're not parallel. I can click parallel surfaces, it'll give me a distance between them. But this status bar is pretty powerful, and I'm going to show you another tip and trick with it later. But notice it's just right here. So it's a great place to see that information. Any shifting? No, man, that's a strong hold. All right, what key will allow you to use mouse gestures while on a part? Alt, Shift, Control, Shift, or Control? It is. But once you learn it, I bet you won't forget it. Especially if you're a mouse gesture person. That's right, Alt. So if we come back over here, notice that I can use my mouse gestures over here as I want to, right? But once I come over top of a part, they don't work, right? But if I hold down the Alt key, they then become active over top of a part. Again, this isn't that bad. It's a small model and there's a lot of blue, but I've been in big models where I'm searching around for that little bit of desktop or graphics area, you know, in the background, trying to find where I can use the mouse gestures without having to zoom out. And yeah, just use the Alt key and it works right there.
That is the hotkey on your mouse, 3D mouse or something.
All right. Any shifting? Oh, we did get some shifting there. Okay, Tank took the top. And a little bit of shifting. Yeah, good job. The selection tool can help you. All answers, find identical components, open a large model quickly, select mated to. If you wait long enough, you'll get the answer. That's right, all answers. And so we'll go ahead and show this real quick. There tomorrow, I promised this for the last few years that I would do a presentation on the selection tool only, right? Because the selection tool is powerful. There's a lot of stuff you can do with the selection tool. And this is just one of them. So you will probably see this question being demonstrated tomorrow. I'll show it today too. But yeah, follow us on IronSWUG.com, go to the watch page, sign up. We'll email you. If you're already on the email list, probably because you're in Zoom. Yeah, for the people here, go to IronSWUG.com, watch online, let us know your email address. We're just going to email you before the meeting and let you know it's getting ready to go live so you can tune in and do the same thing here. But what I want to show you is the few things here. Select identical and select by view. So if I come over to SolidWorks, anybody have models where they have tons of little hardware pieces or other stuff and it's littered throughout your tree because you forgot to do some feature tree management and put them all in a folder, right? Or maybe you want to put them in a folder. Maybe that's what you're doing. Maybe you're organizing it to put it in a folder, right? Well, you can come up here to the selection tool and select identical components, select that one part, and it will select them all as they are littered through the tree, and you don't have to go try and do it yourself. One of the big wins, and we illustrated this, I think for the first time for the Motorcycling Modeling Mayhem for our finale stop last year, was that what if you want to open something that is very somewhat complex? It may take you 5 minutes. It's one of those models, you know, you got to go get a cup of coffee or do something in the meantime, right? And so let's find one of those models real quick. Let's look at envelopes. Let's look at this utility body here. Let's go down to it, 9915096. Who knows a good way to open this and just open it really quick? Anybody want to shout that out or put it in the chat? I'm kind of circling around it to give a hint. LDR.
Design review.
Large design review. That's right. Going to open it pretty quick. Again, this is one of those models that would take a couple minutes to open up. When we go to open it, let's see how quick. Now, first it's going to give us some rules and stuff, what goes on with LDR. So it may just work in LDR the way you want it, because there are certain things that you can do, and it's getting more powerful. They just talked about at World this year with next year's version of LDR, large design review, that you're actually going to be able to put cuts and stuff through stuff in LDR now. So they're making it more and more powerful. But if we hit OK, and watch how quick it opens. Don't make me a liar. There it is. Okay, it's open. That could have took a couple minutes. That could have been a bathroom break model, right? But maybe I need to do more than what LDR is offering. So maybe I need to open certain things, right? So what it does, it just doesn't fully resolve the model. So I'm going to go in here to the side view of it, and then I'm going to say volume select. And this works very similar to any other selection, like left to right, right to left, whether you're selecting in the box or it's going to select everything in the box or what crosses the box lines. And so I'm just going to cross over here and grab that much of it. Notice it gets it and it spins it around so I can see that volume, that box of it, right? I'm going to drag my box out and create the volume of what I want. And I can manipulate this. Maybe I didn't go down far enough. Maybe I need that lower bottom portion of the shelves and stuff too. Now, what does this do? Well, it helps me locate just that area. And then when I say, hey, that's really all I care about, and that's all I'm going to deal with or model or edit, and I say that's fine, then I can go up here to selective open and say selected components, which is what I selected in that volume select, and open selected. It's going to give me another warning. We'll talk about the warning when it pops. There we go. So because you've used selective open, hidden components are not loaded into memory. So basically what it's going to do, it's going to load everything that was in that volume select area. Everything else is going to stay hidden and it's not going to be resolved. Only what was selected in that volume select is going to be resolved. And then it's also going to create a new display state for that too. And we'll see that. All right, so let's open this. Everything's resolved in that facet. We come over to our configuration menu, right? We drop down, we see this new display state. But again, all it's done is hidden everything else. And it said, this is only stuff I'm resolving for you. So maybe there's something in here. I don't know. Let's go to completion. Let's go here. Street side. I don't know. I'm just going to pick something. Something that's not listed. And what I'm going to do is just select whatever it is and hit the eyeball to show it. I'm not sure what I hit, what it was. Let me try something a little different. Something that I can see.
Steve Calvin just said, can this be used to isolate, or is this just as good?
It is complete. I see a question why it's coming. So isolate is going to hide things that you're already seeing, right? This is kind of doing that, but what it's doing is it's fully resolving, where isolate you would already have fully resolved, and then it would hide that stuff that's fully resolved. This is taking stuff that is not resolved, pulling it into another screen or another window per se, and hiding everything in the background so it's not loading and not taking all the resources of your computer, and slowing it down to open what you actually need out of that large assembly. Notice when I unhid this, right, just by poking the eyeball, and that's the other piece I just unhid too, by the way, it's over here off the screen, that's why I didn't see it. When I unhid it, it's still there. All it does though is when I unhide those pieces that I need that maybe I forgot, is it just resolves it for me. And now I can do it. So anything that's in this resolve state, I can go in a model just like I normally would. So it takes a large assembly, opens it with LDR, which opens in seconds rather than minutes, and then isolates a portion of what I want to actually model within that with a volume select, and then resolves it out into another model. And then I can even save that, like I said, in that new display state and do whatever I want. Now, if I went and clicked on one of those other display states, of course, it's going to automatically unhide everything and unresolve it. So good question, Steve.
Next question.
Was there another question?
No.
Oh.
Next question on game.
Gotcha. Let me close this. I do not want to save Sam I am. Okay, let's see what we got here. Staying the same. All right, what are the two parameters that fully define a sketch? Mates and fixed anchors, dimensions and connections, dimensions and relationships, or relationships and mates? What two parameters fully define a sketch?
I got real quiet in here. It's competitive.
That's right, dimensions and relationships. And I am so glad that nobody picked mates and anchors, right? Anchors is like maybe a temporary thing at best, but anchors just, they make me cringe. They make me cringe. Yeah, I see Rudy, he's just shaking his head. Never. That's what I like. That's what I tell people, never use it. I could see maybe where somebody wanted to do it for a moment, but even then, no, I can't.
I get interns to do it, co-ops to do it, and I had an engineer who once did, like, he was mating things on top, he was putting top-down assembly, he'd take something, convert entities, fix. That was his sketch.
Yeah, because what it does, and I don't talk about this specific thing in my design intent presentation on Wednesday, but what it does is it takes design intent and just blows it out the window, right? There is no design intent with fixed anchors. And as a designer or an engineer, design intent is your job, right? Right certifications? Yes. Daniel Granillo says, yes, design intent is your job. Certifications is all about design intent. Yep. All right. Rudy taking second. All right. BB's still on fire though. So BB is apparently still answering correct. Rudy just edged out as the fastest gun in the West on that one. So use the Alt key while mating an object will hide the planes, hide the part, hide the faces, or hide the feature. Hey, we gotta get more answers in here.
We got some slow people up here. Oh.
That is right. It is hide the faces. I'm gonna illustrate this because we got about a half and half on it. So I'm gonna illustrate it, and I want to talk about a little something else with it too. Just because it's very similar. Okay. Let's grab this guy. We're gonna use our control drag command. We just talked about that, right? Do that across windows again. We talked about that. We're gonna go ahead and mate. We'll select this guy. Maybe this is not the face that I want to mate to. Actually, let me undo this. Try that again. I had another face selected. Maybe this is not the face I want to select, right? Maybe that is not it. Hit the right hotkey, we'll be doing even better. Okay, this is not the face. So what I can do is I can hit Alt. It will start hiding those faces until I get to the one that I want, right? Control Alt, sorry, Shift Alt will bring those faces back, right? So maybe this isn't the face I need. Maybe it's the face behind it. So I can select that. Now keep in mind when you select from the other side, it kind of does a little funny stuff. But I can say, no, maybe that wasn't the face. Alt again and select this interior face here. Even though I can select it up here, maybe I'm in a larger assembly and I can't get to that face. Maybe I got to twist it around, or I got to undo it and then make some stuff isolate, right? Or whatever I can to get to that face. But I can just use Alt to hide the faces until I get to what I want. Now, what I'm going to talk about real quick with that, right, is what does Tab do? Well, Tab hides those parts. When you're in a large assembly, Tab hides from front to back. So anything you're seeing, it'll hide. Then you hit Tab again, it hides what's behind it, so on and so forth. Shift Tab brings it back, but it does basically the same thing in reverse. It'll bring what's back here in the back, and then forward, 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 forward till it gets to the front, right? I actually have at one point in one of my presentations, I called to SolidWorks to do the same thing with something else, but they don't. So we'll talk about that's with the selection tool actually tomorrow. So stay tuned for that because there is something in the selection tool that does something similar, but doesn't work quite as good as what Tab and Shift Tab does. But Alt Tab's the same way, or sorry, Alt and Shift Alt's the same way. So when we do create that mate and select it, and we hit Alt, it's hiding those faces from front to back, and then Shift Alt is bringing those faces back from back to front. So it's basically the same thing. All right, any shifting? Well, maintaining for now. We're on 12 of 25. You can turn on-screen numeric input by clicking any of the above, SolidWorks RX, System Options, Sketch Enable, Document Properties, Dimension, on screen. So there it is. So yeah, System Options. Let me show the medium. System Options, Sketch, on-screen numeric input. There is a search, just like the command search. There's a search in your options and your system stuff there. You can do a search there and find too. So don't forget to search.
Overtake me now. No, I just did those stuff.
Oh.
Wait, let's see.
Oh man. That's crazy. You guys maintained. I think everybody dropped. So Combo Breaker, 5 players just dropped their answer streak. So we had a bunch of people on an answer streak and just dropped it on that one. What key will show the shortcut bar? S key, B key, D key, or C key?
Watch me, Rudy.
Watch me now. That's pretty good. Rudy says he's copying Tank's answers from the reflection behind him in the window.
Off my head.
Yeah. I'm glad everybody knows this. It is the S key. If you're not using it, use it. I even have the S key in my mouse gestures, so I'm not even going to talk about this one because everybody is doing a great job with that, and I'm proud. I'm a proud father. I got one snicker out of that one. All right, what two main things should be customized for efficiency? Configuration menu hotkeys, shortcut bar, status bar, search menu, configuration menu, mouse gestures, and shortcut bar.
Ooh, this was hard. I can do multiple of this. Can all of them be correct? Because all of them can be customized.
I don't know that you can customize your status bar.
Dang it.
Yep, so that's it. Mouse gestures and shortcut bar. Awesome. And so with that, yeah, mouse gesture, shortcut bar, I've talked a little bit about that here through quite a few different slides, and they made it even easier. I mean, they put the command search in your S key now. I mean, it's pretty easy to, yeah.
All right, let's have it happen.
I mean, it was already in your S key, but they actually moved it to the S key menu.
Oh, no.
Brooks moved up, and Skytrotter moved up too.
Ooh, Kim from Altec Australia.
In order to lock a dimension to a certain direction when placing it, you can click the middle mouse button, space bar, enter, or the right mouse button. If you pay attention to the video, do what? Oh, Skytrotter's Jared. Awesome. I wouldn't have guessed. Right mouse button. That's right. And that's a great tool. You've seen it kind of illustrated in this image. I'll go ahead and show it just to save us some time and help everybody get done a little quicker. In this image, you see that mouse. It's got a lock in the palm. It's got a shaded right mouse button. That's telling you something. Look for this quite often in SolidWorks. They try to give you these hints to let you know you can do certain things, and this is one of them. So basically, maybe you want it to go to the top, but you want the dimension to come to the right. Well, when you do that, it kind of starts moving that dimension, maybe parallel with the line, or if you come all the way down, it's going to rotate and it's going to start going horizontal. So if you use that right mouse button, click it in the direction you want, then you can drag the dimension off to the side without the dimension fully rotating on you or moving around on you. And then again, once you do that, it's going to change the padlock from a lock to an unlock. So you can click it again and go back to where you was. All right, Brad, you got to start trailing. That way you don't wind up winning the prize.
We'll rock, paper, scissors.
Huh?
Just kidding. Whoever's second will get it.
Well, we got a 1 and 2 and 3.
I know. This thing, we'll just bump everybody, whatever.
I don't think it'll tell me the fourth. All right, 16 and 25. Why many different sections, how many, if I can read my own writing, how many different sections can be done at one time? 2, 1, 3, or 4? And this is a good one too. I'm going to show a bonus tip with this one. That is right. 3 different sections can be done at the same time. And there's actually some bonus stuff for it that I'll show you. But if we want to go in here and we do a section just like normal, right? We're going to come up and hit our section tool. We're going to click on a surface. We're going to drag it in. But if we pay attention over in our properties manager over here, we have section 2 and 3. So section 2, we can click it and turn it on. Maybe I want it to come from this direction now. So I'll drop it in. Maybe section 3, I want to come from the top. And notice it did 3 different sections to kind of fine tune that a little bit for me. Now let me come in here and turn these back off just for a second so I can illustrate something else with this. I can come down here and maybe there's certain things that I want to see, right? And I could say I want to do it by component. Well, maybe that is one component I don't want to show sectioned. I can say turn that off. I don't want that section. I need that. That's really good information that maybe I'm mounting to. I just need to move something else out of the way, right? What if that's not the case? Maybe I don't care too much about it, but it's nice to have it for reference. Then I can show it as kind of a transparent state. All right. That's pretty cool. And you can do that with multiple objects, and you can change things whether to include or exclude based on the selection what you make. So just pay attention to those selections within that box, because you can tell it to include or exclude based on that. Rudy is taking first. Yeah. All right. Press tab over any object will do what? And I already gave you the answer to this. So is it hide, move it, show it, or delete it? If you have it. I use the X key to hide. H and J. Yeah, I use X to hide, and I have it to toggle both ways. That's right, hide it. All right. Let's go next. When using power trim, holding the shift key will extend, delete, undo, or trim. That's right, it will extend. I'm gonna go ahead and illustrate this just so we had some mixed vibes with this.
Vibes?
Some mixed vibes.
When did you become Gen Z?
Dude, I'm going hippie nation, son.
You have enough gray. You have enough gray in your hair to be.
Right? Flower power. Let's do it. Sorry, guys. Sorry. All right. So yes, I'm going to come in here. I'm going to use my mouse gesture, of course, to use my trim, my power trim, because I really like power trim. I can come in here and I can cut, right? I can also hold the shift key and come back and start extending. I can use the shift key to grab something and extend as well, right? Trim it back. Let's do that one more time. And notice that when I come across, there's a red dot. It's a really cool red dot because maybe I didn't need to trim that. I can come back and untrim it without having to release and undo everything that maybe I was in the middle of trimming.
Oh, power extend. That's what I call it.
Yeah. All right. There you go. Do what? I think I'm going to use the anchor button. Anchor down. Sorry, guys. We had Rudy Ottway say that I was missing some relationships and dimensions and stuff on this sketch, and I thought I'd just anchor it, right? I leave this sketch like this. It's one of my ones that I pull up and do different things with. So it's a catch-all sketch. Sketch-all. There you go.
Dad jokes.
What's another way I could have fully defined? There is a tool.
Don't.
Don't. Rudy's like, don't teach them that. That's number two.
Never use the button.
Never use the auto define button and never use the anchor. Yeah, I like it. All right, here we go. What does the freeze bar do? So a lot of people don't even know the freeze bar exists. Crash SolidWorks, so you can start fresh. Lock features from the top down so it doesn't rebuild. Freeze everything you were working on. Or roll things back to the previous state. I've had triangle and circle happen before. I don't know if it was a freeze bar that caused it, but all right, everybody's got that. I'm not going to show it. Yes, it does lock things down from the top down, keeps them from rebuilding from you. When you know you've got stuff set and it's working, you can go into your, you have to actually turn it on. It's in your system options under general and enable freeze bar, and then it'll put it just like the rollback bar, but instead at the bottom, it's at the top, and you drag it down to lock certain features in, so that way they don't constantly rebuild and do things. You're basically telling SolidWorks, hey, this is not going to change. I don't need you to deal with it. Forget it. It is what it is. So it helps your stuff process a little quicker. BB jumped up and Skytrotter too.
John McPherson asked what version of SolidWorks you're using. I said 2024.
SolidWorks Connected. In order to help fix a sketch with ketchup and mustard or Doritos and meatballs, you can use Sketch Expert, autocorrect, correct, delete a sketch, fix a sketch. I know it's not the correct answer, but delete a sketch sounds like it would fix. That's right. Sketch Expert is there. I want to show this off because it's half and half mixed on this, and it is a very powerful tool.
Fix the sketch with the name. That's just perfect.
Fix a sketch. I think it's a good one too. I don't disagree with that, but I think delete a sketch. I had actually showed this in a training thing I was doing, and someone's like, delete a sketch. It fixes everything. I'm like, you're not wrong. All right. So we're going to come in here and we're going to look at this guy. Same thing we just seen in the image. I'm going to edit the sketch, and we're going to create it a ketchup and mustard moment. We're going to connect it to the midpoint. We're going to connect it to the midpoint. We're going to come in and we're going to tell it that we want it to be vertical. I didn't connect it to the midpoint. All right, let's try that again.
Tried to break it, you didn't.
I know, right? All right. There we go. Now we broke it. And we can see this looks a little different than what my image did because I connected the midpoint second, but you can see we got a lot of ketchup and mustard saying things are overdefined. Of course, we see that because of that. It's telling that there's some things that can't be solved because of that. I mentioned earlier that the status bar is a great place and a great resource for finding measurements, dimensions, and other types of information. But one of the things it's also well known for is telling you whether something is fully defined or not, right? It'll tell you at the bottom, we always want everything fully defined. That's why Rudy was joking with me on that last sketch, because we do want everything to be fully defined. That's the ultimate way to success and predictable models, especially if we listen to Toby Snars's Fully Defined Every Time song on YouTube. You'll get an earworm. You'll be hearing it for the rest of your life. But even in this step, it'll tell you that there is no solution found. It gives you a little warning triangle, says no solution found. But in this area, because of that, it actually allows that to be a clickable item and actually opens up what we call Sketch Expert. It is one time where I think SOLIDWORKS does not too bad of a job doing something automatically, unlike the dimensions that Rudy said. This is the second thing I tell people not to do.
AI, buzzword.
AI, buzzword. Maybe SOLIDWORKS is going to put AI in Sketch Expert next. Okay. So diagnose, we're going to diagnose this. Hit OK, of course. It says it could take a minute. I did this different, so it's going to probably come up with a bunch of weird stuff. I don't know. We'll find out. Only 21. Okay, so I've had it come up with 4 before, the way I've done it before. That's why I like doing it that way. But it's basically telling us here that if we delete the midpoint relationship, that's going to fix everything. But it tells us that's only one solution out of 21 solutions that's possible, right? So we can toggle through those and we say, okay, well, if we get rid of the vertical relationship, that's going to fix it for us. If we get rid of the 2-inch dimension on the slot, it'll stretch it out and it'll fix it for us. If we get rid of the 1 inch off the side, it's going to fix it for us as well, right? So we have all these different options, and once we figure out which one we want, we can hit escape and then hit the checkbox and it accept and then hit the checkbox. It's done. It fixes it. It's taken care of, right? The reason I'm not doing that just yet is for 2 reasons. I need to undo this and keep it the same so I can show somebody else next time. But also down here in the bottom, there's a little checkbox that says always open this dialog when sketch errors occur. And then you don't even have to click it down in the status bar. If you have a sketch error, it'll automatically go into this mode for you and allow you to start diagnosing that sketch. I don't know about you guys, but man, I've had some monstrous ugly sketches that have messed up. And the last thing I want to do at the end of a Friday is try and figure that out. All right, let's let SOLIDWORKS do some heavy lifting for us. I could just use the breadcrumb and tell it not to keep it, couldn't I?
The D key.
The D key. Just these moved back up. All right. What key will fit what's in the graphics area to your screen? Is it the X key, the D key, the F key, or the A key? That sounded creepy, didn't it? That's right, the F key. It'll fit it to the screen. It's one of my hotkeys that I use quite often. That and Control 7. Send it to ISO. Another one I use. I like F key more in the drawings, I guess.
Rudy's at the top.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, what key brings the confirmation button to your mouse? And if you didn't hear us say this a minute ago, you're going to get it wrong. C key, D key, or A key, Z key.
Ezekiel?
Ezekiel key.
More questions?
That's right, the D key. Bring those breadcrumbs to the front of your mouse. There is an option in your system options. If you go down into your breadcrumbs section, it tells it to turn breadcrumbs on and off, whether you can actually have them or not. It also says to automatically bring those breadcrumbs to your mouse, so you don't have to hit the D key. It's good, not good. I find pros and cons with it. I've used it both ways, automatically being at my mouse. I didn't have being, you know, that lazy saving money kind of guy I am. Not, you know, wanting just to have it automatic for me, and it works. But in another thing, it causes a couple of things that I've seen where sometimes my flyout menu or something won't show up, or it also pushes that flyout menu off a little bit further because it puts the breadcrumbs in front of it. And so it's just a little more mouse miles that maybe I wouldn't have to travel because I don't always need the D key. So just food for thought. Okay, where can you find any command? I mentioned this earlier. Command search, command express, command manager, or command prompt. I don't know if you know CMD, you might be able to find something. There we go. That's right. Command search. I mentioned it earlier with the S key because before 2022 edition of SolidWorks, if you hit the S key, your cursor would actually put its I bar in command search. And a lot of people didn't realize that it was activated as soon as you hit the S key. So I feel like that's probably why SolidWorks in 2022 said, well, if it's already doing that, let's just tack it to the bottom of the shortcut bar. That way it's kind of in your face and you know it's there then. Just Steve took the second place. What does SolidWorks equations have to start with in order for them to constantly compute? Divide, equals, minus, and plus. And this is big, especially when you're looking for global variables or you're looking for things to happen within your certification exams or even in your daily workflows. So yes, know the equal sign is that one, and everybody got it. Good job. All right, I'm gonna capture this right here. Just Steve. Huh? You want to just Steve?
I mean, he gets 2,000 points ahead of everybody else.
He did not.
One more left.
One more question left.
10,000 point bonus question.
All right, here you go. If a parent feature is deleted or suppressed, the child will be adopted. Run away from home. I like that.
We all have
Run away from home. Brad says be adopted, and the other gentleman in the room says run away from home. Hide, delete, or suppress. Stick around and maintain its relationships, or stick around with no relationships. That's right. It will be delete or suppress. The parent is going to control the child in any way possible. So yeah, whatever it's doing, the child's going to follow suit. That's why a lot of times I like to recommend showing that parent-child relationship in my feature tree and see those arrows go to where they're at, because then I know if I need to modify or change something, I know what it's going to affect, right? I know what relationships may be lost or what things may be deleted. That way I can go, you know, manipulate that or fix it if somebody didn't have the right design intent originally, and change it up so it doesn't do that. All right, drum roll, guys. Here's your podium for your winners. In third place, we have Sky Trotter. In second, just Steve. And in first, Rudy. All right, awesome job, guys. Steve, we're gonna get you an award out there, so we know your information, or we'll hit you up offline for winning second place, and then we'll do likewise for some others.
Give Rudy the 3D Cat Mouse Pro.
Because we have one at each stop.
That's up to you. I don't care.
Good.
Yeah,
Rudy, do you have
that's-
a space mouse?
I haven't in a long time.
Do you want a
You
space
Gas
mouse?
Pro?
That'd be fantastic.
All right,
You
for
just
first
want-
place. Yep.
I'll show up.
Well, you,
There you go.
afterwards, come see me about an email so I can send it to 3D
To you
Connection,
guys.
I'll mail it directly to you.
All right, guys, I want to keep everybody on here for just a few more minutes. I know it's, you know, glad you guys have stuck around with us. Let me jump back over to my PowerPoint, and then I need to share one more slide with you as well. Where are you? Romeo, Romeo, where art thou? All right, so if I was you and you guys were me, what would I have written down for notes? I'd probably say learning tips and tricks can be efficient. That control can help you copy in many ways. Hiding parts and planes with certain keys. A lot more to isolate than just, you know, isolating sections and stuff. And SolidWorks can be fun. Right. Call to action for me is going to say, give it a try. You're going to see lots of presentations, especially if you hang out with us for the full week. You're going to see lots of cool stuff. You're not going to remember every bit of it, but I'm hoping at least one thing out of this or something throughout the week you do capture and you do keep with you. Because if just one thing is going to make a difference, right? And where will you start with that one thing? Because I am a firm believer, and I've said this in many other presentations, I am a firm believer that practice does not make perfect. Practice is muscle memory. It makes habit. And Aristotle told us that we are what we repeatedly do. So excellence then is not an act, but is a habit. All right. Does anybody got any questions? Okay, awesome.